Introduction. Danger lurks everywhere. Let's face it, folks, danger doesn't clock out at 5 o'clock. It's everywhere, even in the places we least expect it. Offices, warehouses, construction sites, you name it. There's always something that can bite you if you're not careful. We're talking about hazardous materials, the silent threats lurking in plain sight. Think cleaning supplies under your kitchen sink, that spare gas can in the garage, or even the toner cartridge for your printer. These things might seem harmless, but mishandled or misused, they can turn dangerous in a heartbeat. That's why understanding hazardous materials isn't just for guys in hazmat suits. It's for everyone, from the office worker to the construction worker, the stay-at-home parent to the weekend warrior tackling a DIY project. Because knowledge is power, and when it comes to hazardous materials, knowing how to handle them safely can mean the difference between a productive day and a trip to the ER. So let's dive in and get you up to speed on staying safe around these everyday dangers. Understanding the enemy types of hazards and how they get you. First things first, let's break down these hazardous materials. What exactly are we dealing with? Well, they come in all shapes and sizes, but they all share one thing in common. They have the potential to cause harm. We're talking about things that can burn you, flammable liquids, poison you, toxins, irritate your skin, corrosives, make you sick if you breathe them in, inhalants, or even explode under the wrong conditions, explosives. And these bad boys can sneak up on you in 4 main ways: through your skin, absorption, by you breathing them in, inhalation, if you accidentally eat or drink them, ingestion, or if something gets in your eyes, eye contact. Now, before you panic, remember, knowledge is power. Understanding the types of hazards and how they can get to you is the first step in protecting yourself. So stay tuned, and we'll equip you with the knowledge you need to stay safe. Decoding the Safety Manual, your guide to safe handling. Alright, let's talk about those safety data sheets, SDSs, your best friend when it comes to handling hazardous materials. Think of them as the instruction manual for handling potentially dangerous stuff safely. Every hazardous material comes with an SDS, and it's your right as a worker to have access to them. These sheets are packed with crucial information, the stuff you need to know to work safely and avoid turning a routine task into a disaster. You'll find everything from the material's name and hazardous ingredients to the risks associated with it, how to handle it safely, what to do in case of an emergency, and what protective gear you need. They can be a bit technical, but don't let that intimidate you. The information is there to keep you safe, so take the time to read and understand it. Heavy lifting and other workplace hazards. Avoiding the big oopsies. Now let's talk about some common workplace hazards. We're talking about the stuff that can trip you up literally if you're not careful. And remember, these hazards aren't limited to construction sites or factories. They can pop up in any workplace. First up, heavy lifting. We've all been there trying to manhandle something way too heavy for one person. But improper lifting techniques are a leading cause of workplace injuries, from back sprains to hernias. So, remember to lift with your legs, not your back, and if something's too heavy, ask for help. Then, there are slips, trips, and falls, the workplace comedy classics that are anything but funny in real life. Spilled liquids, loose cords, uneven surfaces, these are all accidents waiting to happen. Keep your workspace clean and organized, wipe up spills immediately, and report any potential hazards to your supervisor. Spills, leaks, and other mishaps. Damage control 101. Let's face it, folks, accidents happen. Even the most safety-conscious worker can have a mishap. That's why it's crucial to know what to do when things go south, so you can contain the damage and prevent a bad situation from turning into a full-blown disaster. First and foremost, stay calm. Panic won't help anyone. If there's a spill or leak, clear the area immediately. If it's safe to do so, try to contain the spill using absorbent materials like sand or kitty litter, but only if you know what you're dealing with and it's safe to do so. Next up, ventilation. Open windows and doors to air out the area, especially if you're dealing with fumes. And if you're unsure about the situation or the material involved, don't play the hero. Evacuate the area and call your supervisor or emergency services immediately. Gearing up personal protection, your last line of defense. When it comes to hazardous materials, personal protective equipment, or PPE, is your last line of defense. Think of it as your suit of armor against invisible enemies. But remember, PPE is only effective if it's used correctly and consistently. Depending on the hazards you're facing, your PPE arsenal might include gloves to protect your hands, safety glasses or goggles to shield your eyes, earplugs or earmuffs to protect your hearing, and respirators to prevent you from inhaling harmful dusts, fumes, or vapors. The type of PPE you need will depend on the specific hazards present in your workplace. Always refer to the SDS for the material you're handling to determine the appropriate PPE. And remember, PPE is not a one-size-fits-all solution. Make sure your gear fits properly and provides adequate protection. Working from home, don't let your guard down. Now you might think, Mike, I work from home. None of this applies to me. Well, think again. Hazardous materials aren't confined to office buildings and factories. They're lurking in your home office too. Think about it. Cleaning products, pesticides, paints, solvents, these are all common household items that can be hazardous if not handled properly. And let's not forget about those home improvement projects we all tackle on weekends. Just because you're on your own turf doesn't mean you can throw caution to the wind. The same safety rules apply at home as they do in the workplace. Read labels, follow instructions, store hazardous materials properly, and always prioritize ventilation when working with chemicals. Training and education knowledge is power, safety is strength. Look, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Dealing with hazardous materials is serious business. It's not something you want to wing. That's why proper training and education are absolutely crucial. Your employer is responsible for providing you with the necessary training on how to handle hazardous materials safely. This includes understanding the risks involved, knowing how to read and interpret SDSs, using PPE correctly, and following emergency procedures. But remember, safety is a two-way street. It's your responsibility to pay attention during training, ask questions if you're unsure about anything, and most importantly, apply what you've learned on the job. Don't be afraid to speak up if you see something unsafe. It might just save a life, including your own. Creating a culture of safety. It takes a village. At the end of the day, workplace safety isn't just about rules and regulations. It's about creating a culture where safety is everyone's top priority. It's about looking out for yourself and your coworkers and making sure everyone goes home safe and sound. That means speaking up if you see something unsafe, encouraging your coworkers to follow safety procedures, and always striving to improve safety practices. Remember, safety isn't just a box to tick. It's an ongoing process that requires everyone's participation and commitment. So, let's work together to make our workplaces safer for everyone. Because when it comes to hazardous materials, a little knowledge and a lot of caution can go a long way. Stay safe out there, folks.